everyone, welcome back. I've been in development over the last few months and I'm finally ready to kick off a new series of tutorials on what I've been building. My goal is to keep these updates regular to keep you all in the loop, so bear with me as I find my rhythm with this new format. Today, we're doing a fresh start on the PCG Forest update. I'm breaking this series into parts. If you're new here, this is the perfect place to start. If you're already using the tool, feel free to skip ahead to the later parts where I cover the brand new features. While some of my older tutorials might be slightly outdated, they still contain tips that can help you fine-tune your environment. Also, if you run into any problems, check the link below to join the Discord server for direct support. I'll be in there answering questions as quickly as I can. For this first part, I'm guiding you in how to use the tool and set it up properly for your own project. So let's dive in. When you have your project open in Unreal Engine 5, you first go to Fab and search for PCG Forest. Select the tool, and when you purchase the tool, you can add the tool to your project by hitting the button. Then the PCG Forest tool will be downloaded into your project and will show up in your content browser. I have mine already added, so let's close the Fab screen and go back to the project. We see the PCG Forest folder contains 4 blueprints and 5 folders. So if you see one blueprint, then you will have to enable some plugins. Let's go the plugins and type PCG. And enable the first PCG plugin. We don't need the other ones, only the first we have to check. Unreal will say that you have to restart. Mine is already checked, so we're going to the other plugin, and that is Patch. Let's type in Patch and enable the landscape patch. Now you can restart Unreal, and when you open your project again, all the 4 blueprints will be there. To make it a little bit easier to understand, I made a folder called Demo Levels. Let's open that one, and we see 4 demo levels. For now, we're focusing on the first demo. Let's open that one up. We see some cones in a spline circle. That means that the forest is working. If you don't see anything, you move the blueprint to let it generate. When moving, you notice that it makes a different generation of the cones, making your forest every time you move it unique to the landscape. Let's select our blueprint in the outliner and take a look in the details panel. The blueprint has 3 feature settings: vegetation, generate and spawning settings. With the generate section, you can clean up your spawning of the forest and generate it by using the buttons. It's also possible to make a PCG link to bake your forest to your landscape. First, we open up the vegetation because we want to make a forest that doesn't look like a cone. When opening the vegetation section, we see that there are some more options than my previous PCG forest. We'll focus on vegetation data assets first and cover the remaining settings later. Let's open up the first data asset, the mesh grass. We see that the cone is selected in the slot, but we can change that. So let me place a cylinder here to see what happens. The PCG is changing into the cylinders. Let's get our cone back and close the data asset. So we have multiple data assets we can use for setting up your forest, like the grass, high grass, flowers, trees, bushes, rocks, leaves and branches. We can fill these data assets with meshes. I've downloaded a bunch of high quality meshes, and these are the Quixel assets that you can download for free on Fab to work with. You can select your own assets to create your unique forest. I'll start with getting my grass for the data asset. We open up the grass data asset. Selecting the grass you want and place it in the slot. And we see that the PCG changed into this grass we insert in the data asset. You can right away change the scale and weight, and you can insert more grass if you want, just to make it more variable. Let's place another grass into the slot and change its scale. And let's do another grass to give it more randomness. And with that, we have in seconds a grass-looking field. Let's close up the grass asset and go back to the details panel. Look for the spawning settings and open up the grass settings. Now we can change the settings of the grass we just inserted into the data asset. We can make more clumps or a more packed grass. You can change it by using the sliders to get exactly the look you want for your selected grass field. Just play with the settings to see what it does. In here we also have the scale settings. This is just the overall scaling of the grass. In the data asset itself, you can change the scaling by grass asset. Next to that, you change the seed of the grass and the rotation. The slope angle gives you the possibility to place the amount of grass on a steep hill. I will come back to that later. When you are satisfied with the look of the grass, you can do this also for the other settings. I'm speeding up this progress because it works the same as with the grass data asset. So I'm filling up the high grass and flower data asset the same way as I did with the grass. And here we have a nice field with some grass, weeds and flowers. The next data asset are the trees. When we select the trees data asset and open this, you can see that we not having one slot, but 3 different slots. You can select a static mesh, but also a skeletal mesh. And for that skeletal mesh, you can also insert a mesh for the collision of the skeletal mesh. This skeletal mesh is mostly for using the Megaplants with the PCG Forest. You can refer to my latest tutorial on how to use the collision with Megaplants. For now, we are just focusing on skeletal trees. I already downloaded some Megaplants from Fab. To let these work in your project, you have to enable some settings. So go to the project settings and search for foliage. And enable nanite foliage. After that, we go to the plugins and search for vegetation and enable the procedural vegetation editor. When you enable that, Unreal asks you again to restart. After the restart, you can use the Megaplants assets. Open up your downloaded Megaplants and you can drag a skeletal tree into the viewport to see if this is working. We see a tree appear, so this is definitely working. Let's remove the tree out of the viewport and drag it into the tree data asset. And we see that the PCG has been filled with the trees. Let's close the asset and take a look at the settings. I'm setting my sliders to default to make it less dense. This is looking way better. And we can change the settings for the trees as well, just like we did with grass and the flowers. The good thing about changing the density and variation of the assets is that you have direct control on what you are changing. It's updating in real time, make it easier to create your forest in minutes instead of going back and forward into your PCG. We still have a few remaining assets to create to finalize our forest. I'm going to fast forward through these last 4 data categories. We are currently filling in the bushes, which also includes the Megaplants options, along followed by the rocks, ground leaves, and fallen branches. Once the assets are created, our forest is complete and it looks great. The beauty of this system is that every population generates a unique result. As I move the forest volume, you'll notice it dynamically updates and shifts its appearance. Let's jump into play mode for a closer look. The density feels just right. You have immense flexibility with this forest blueprint. By duplicating the actor, you can quickly create variations by simply adjusting the seed or scale settings. For a different vibe, try deselecting the tree data asset to transform the area into an open field. These variations use the same underlying data, allowing for multiple distinct looks with consistent logic. The removal blueprints are equally integrated. Drag the BP mesh into your scene to instantly clear vegetation wherever the mesh sits. You can hide the mesh to visualize the clearing or scale it to remove larger area of vegetation. Switching the shape to a cylinder allows for precise circular clearing around specific objects. To keep your workflow organized, I've added custom icons to every blueprint, making it effortless to locate and tweak your settings directly within the viewport. So that's it for the first part and the basics of the PCG Forest tool. If you've followed along this far, you've done an amazing job. Don't go anywhere, because in the upcoming video, we'll demonstrate how to apply this system to landscapes, integrate it with paint layer data, and managing world partition workflows. You can grab the PCG toolset on Fab via the links below. Please drop your thoughts or technical questions in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep shaping those worlds.